put your aprons on because this kitchen is heating up. Today, we are rolling out a super special edition, super education session with our guest chef, Jeff Tobe, CSP. I got to leave that CSP on there because I know how hard you worked to get that. Jeff got his start in promo. Some of you may not know that. He is a proud Golden Pyramid Award winner. I'm going to brag on him for just a bit. 8 awards in 5 years is kind of a big effing deal. So, Jeff Tobe, you are an accomplished promo peep, but you're also an accomplished author. You are flooded with creativity, and your customer experience guru is what I like to think of you. However, being known for high energy and story driven sessions is awesome, but I cannot wait for you to teach us more and drop the wisdom that mentorship is more than a side dish. In fact, here at Promo Kitchen, as most of us know, it's the main course. And so we're delighted to have you, Jeff, because we know we will grow with purpose. So I'm going to welcome you by saying, hey, everybody that's here, we're fired up if you're here live. Thank you so much. Get your coffee, get your water, get that comfy seat because we're ready to stir this up and get some serious inspiration. So the Promo Kitchen crew is here. We're jacked up, as I said. But to everybody that's listening, I want to introduce my friend, Jeff Tobe. Jeff, please take it away.
Thank you, Jay. You go ahead. You can say more about me. I wouldn't mind. No, I'm kidding. It's so nice to be here, and it's so kind of odd for me to be here, with people that I've known, gosh, Bruce Felber, I don't know, 30 years, I hate to say. Um, yeah, no, and I will tell you that, first of all, mine is a very participatory session. And what does that mean? It means get your fingers warmed up, whatever you got to do, because I want you in the chat, to respond in the chat box. But it also means I would love for you all to turn your cameras on. It's often difficult, as you know, if you've ever done any kind of presentation, to present to just a photo. So we don't care about makeup or hair or anything else, but please join us visually as well. Thank you. And great smiles out there too. So why me? I want to just, by way of introduction, also tell you that, yes, the Golden Pyramids, my experience in the business many years ago, but I've now been speaking professionally for 27 years. And I got my start in the promotional products, branded merchandise world, speaking around the industry. And so I feel like I want to give back. But why me? I've spent the last 3 years focused on corporate mentorship and working with a very large organization of 8,000 people who had no formal mentoring process. And I immersed myself for almost a full year in learning more about corporate mentorship. And I always use the word corporate mentorship because if you actually look up online mentorship, you're going to find a lot about education and student mentoring. But I was looking specifically for corporate. And what I found I want to share with a lot of you today. I will also tell you as a bit of a plug that while I should be probably retiring, instead I'm attacking a whole new venture and planning the first ever corporate mentoring conference in the United States, hopefully for mid-September 2026. So I'm very excited about that. So let's just start by saying that, when we talk about mentorship, I don't think we can talk about it without talking about the world of change. Things are changing so rapidly, right? Right now, that we have to think about change. And when it comes to mentorship, we have to be able to kind of step back and look at things from a different perspective. I looked up a study. I'm going to take you way back for a minute. The year was 1988, before most of you were born. SMU Business School in Dallas, Texas, and they studied change in major industries and professions in the United States and Canada. For us old guys, you won't be surprised that in 1988, there was no listing under ad specialties, promotional items, or branded merchandise anywhere. But in the marketing world and promotions world, the study found that if you were in this business in 1988, you went through a major change in the way you do what you do every 3 years. So the study said that by 1991, something was going to change. Well, they've redone the study now 4 times. Last study in 2024, so a year or so ago, and they found that 3 years in your business has now been reduced to 7 months. 7 months. What does that mean? Something you're doing right now. It's just standard practice. It just, it's just what you do is going to change drastically over the next 7 months. I can't think of a better reason for me to color outside the lines. And a lot of you know that that's what I'm all about. Therefore, all the crayons and the color. My first book was Coloring Outside the Lines. My company is called Coloring Outside the Lines, and it really is my life. So in that vein, and in the vein of so much change, I think we have to think about, especially for those people who are considering being a mentor, I think that, we've got to consider the fact that our mentees are changing as well that quickly. And so it really is about every 7 months. Thank you, Jay. And so when we talk about change, I wanted to start today with a story. And I'm going to read the story with you. Bear with me. I'm going to read the story with you, and then I'm going to ask you some questions and get you involved. But the story starts with a cage containing five gorillas and a large bunch of bananas hanging above some stairs in the center of the cage. Before long, a gorilla goes to the stairs and starts to climb toward the bananas. As soon as he touches the stairs, all the gorillas are sprayed with cold water. After a while, another gorilla makes an attempt and gets the same result. All the gorillas are sprayed with cold water. Every time a gorilla attempts to retrieve the bananas, the others are sprayed. Eventually, they quit trying and they leave the bananas alone. Well, one of the original gorillas is removed from the cage and replaced with a new one. The new gorilla sees the bananas and starts to climb the stairs. To his horror, all the other gorillas attack him. After another attack and attempt, he knows that if he tries to climb the stairs, he'll be assaulted. Next, the second of the original five gorillas is replaced with a new one. The newcomer goes to the stairs and is attacked. The previous newcomer takes part in the punishment with enthusiasm. Next, the third original gorilla is replaced with a new one. The new one goes for the stairs and is attacked as well. Two of the four gorillas that beat him have no idea why they're participating in the beating of the newest gorilla, or why they're not permitted to climb the stairs. After the fourth and fifth original gorillas have been replaced, all the gorillas that were sprayed with cold water are gone. Nevertheless, no gorilla will ever again approach the stairs. Why not? Would you put it in the chat box? Your thoughts? Why not? Cause effect. Love that. The beating will continue. Absolutely. Mob mentality. Um, they were mentored not to. Yeah, thank you for bringing up mentoring. You knew I was going to tie it in somehow, Bruce, right? Assumptions remain, learn lessons, negative reinforcement. Yeah, all those things. Exactly. Well, I think it's something else that we have to, it's a syndrome. And I think it's a syndrome that we've got to get past before we can be a more effective mentor. And the syndrome is actually called TTWWADI. Yeah, that's the way we've always done it. Ever hear that from a client? Ever hear that from your own people? Sure, but that's the way we've always done it. And I think it's a syndrome that we, once we can think more creatively about the mentoring process, we can get past it, but that's the way we've always done it syndrome. And so one of my goals this afternoon, I wanted to give you some exercises that you can take back if you have your own team. I know a lot of you are solopreneurs. Take back and use with your mentor, especially with your mentee, especially if you're already mentoring. And the first one is three simple questions that I'd love for you to discuss with any mentee that you have. The first question is, why is change so threatening to so many people? So again, in the chat box, would you answer this? Why is change so threatening to so many people? Fear. Yeah. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown. Thank you. I wish there were prizes. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. But also, they don't know the outcome. It forces us outside of our norms or outside our comfort zone. The W know versus the W don't. I could go on a whole different tangent with that one, but we're not going there. Sure. So I'm going to focus on fear for a minute because I once heard a sales trainer when I was in your business. I once heard a sales. I can't remember who said it, but they said fear is just an acronym for false evidence appearing real. Have you heard this before? I'm sure you have. And you know what? I thought I didn't give much credence to it until I started working in the area of creativity and customer experience and mentoring. because fear is very real to the person experiencing it. And so it can't go unnoticed. Fear of failure and fear of the unknown. I hear it worldwide when I ask that question. And so it's got to be addressed. And I think one of the challenges is that it hasn't been addressed in the past. Somebody's been blamed, and now we don't want to, now change is threatening to us. And so instead, if somebody had just debriefed it, if somebody had had a mentor with whom they could work, then I think it would change the feeling of being of failure. But when I dig deeper, and I work long term with organizations, I have a year-long program now for organizations for the customer experience journey. And when we ask this question, we spend a lot of time getting into these three questions. But when I ask this question, I typically hear something about the culture. And that makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Why? I look at it this way. Culture is the past. And take a look at your business and ask yourself, how long have I been in business? That is a rich culture. Environment is static, but it's the climate that's always changing. And so, I'm really bringing this up because if you are just considering being a mentor, it really isn't as big as you think. We're not trying to change anybody's culture. We're not trying to eat the big elephant, so to speak. Instead, like the climate outside, things are always changing in the industry. And so why don't we just focus on the climate of the organization, on the climate right now in the industry? See, here's the thing. When it comes to change, I want to try something. If you're wearing a watch or a bracelet, would you take it off and hold it up, please, in front of the camera? Excellent. And now I'm going to give you my address. Would you please send it via FedEx? No, I'm kidding. Would you take that watch or bracelet and would you put it back on the other arm? I know you don't want to. I know it's uncomfortable. Please appease me. And by the way, this is the only team building portion of my talk. If there's somebody else at home or in your office and you need help, ask for help. It's okay. But how awkward is that? Like, when did it just gain a pound from one arm to the other? But you're lucky I wasn't speaking in the morning because here's my challenge. Just until you go to bed tonight, I'm going to ask you to force yourself to wear this watch or bracelet on the other arm. As uncomfortable as this feels, every time you realize that your watch or bracelet is on the other arm, every time you think that you look at your other arm and it's missing, ask yourself, what else do I do that's strictly a habit? And how many of you, show of hands, we don't need to, or just put a yes in the chat box. How many of you have ever heard of the 21-day rule? That's a yes or a no. Yeah, I'm counting on all of you. Of course you have. And what is it? 21 days to make, break, or change any habit. By the way, I'm glad that so many of you know that. It comes from AAA. So good to know my audience anyway. But anyway, wonderful organization. I certainly don't mean to make fun of them. Many years ago, AA said if you could stop drinking for 21 days, you wouldn't break the habit, but you get over the first hurdle. So it was translated to mean 21 days to make, break, or change any habit. And I think when we talk about mentoring, we have to talk about and wanting to be a mentor. I think we have to consider TTWWADI combined with getting outside our comfort zone. And so take my challenge 20 just until you go to bed tonight, I'm going to ask you to keep that watch or bracelet on the other arm. But it is about, by the way, I tend to go off in tangents, but it is about getting outside your comfort zone. And when we're talking about the climate, um, I really believe this. When it comes to climate creation in your organization, creative mentors must create conditions amenable for creativity and innovation to flourish in the mentoring relationship. And the challenge is that you are an incredibly creative profession. I know that. That's what I talked about for so many years. We have to be creative every single day. But for some reason, when it comes to mentoring and corporate mentoring, I find this. I find that most mentoring relationships are designed for efficiency, solve a problem, get things done, move on to the next meeting, not creativity and innovation. So I think I just want to remind you that part of this afternoon is about thinking differently about mentoring, no matter how long you've been in the mentoring process or in mentoring relationships. I want to ask that as well. Yes or no, I am currently mentoring someone. Yes or no, I'm currently mentoring someone. We have a good mixture. Excellent. So we have a lot of no's. I didn't expect that. And I love that because, obviously that's what Promo Kitchen is all about. But I don't feel as bad for those of you who are mentoring someone that maybe some of this is a reminder to you. So the first question is to ask, why is change so threatening to so many people? And I want you to ask that of your mentee, whether you're mentee now or you just remember this. And by the way, one more thing, I'm creative, not organized. You're probably thinking, well, where is the handout? They're actually right here sitting on my desk. I just didn't do anything with it. So no, I don't know where we're going to go with discussion and everything else. I am happy to get maybe through Jay, I don't know, or Laura, to get the slides to you afterwards if you're interested. You don't have to make copious notes. The second question to ask is how do we break through guerrilla thinking? How do we break through that? But that's the way we've always done it thinking. I've had mentees in my life now who this was their attitude. Yes, but that's the way we've always done it in our organization. And so there's got to be a way to break through. In the chat box, how do we break through that thinking? What do you think? Nicole, my condolences that you're being mentored by Bruce Felber, but he'll do. How do we break through? So Brian says, being proactive versus reactive. Absolutely. Sherry, I'm going to change your verbiage and say coloring outside the lines because I get paid every time we say it. No, I'm kidding. Educate yourself. Absolutely. Embrace the change by putting a positive spin on it. Be willing to get vulnerable. I want to stop there for a second. Thank you for that, Ace. I think that's a key in a mentoring relationship. Are you being vulnerable with your mentee? Here's some mistakes I've made, and here's what I learned from it, when it came to guerrilla thinking. And it's also encouraging creativity, and somebody said it, by asking questions. I think that this relationship we're talking about is a question-based relationship. We'll talk more about that. I have the privilege of speaking to a group across the US called Vistage. Don't know if anybody's familiar with it, but in any given city, you have Vistage chapters, and they're made up of CEOs of what I would call medium-sized businesses. They're not Fortune 500, but they're certainly not mom and pop. And we get really deep into these questions. And I was speaking in Cincinnati last month to a group, and I had one of the CEOs say, "That's easy. All you do is never get rid of one gorilla at a time. Get rid of all four." And I think she proceeded to go back and fire her entire executive team. So you can get too creative as well. All right, the third question is, what motivates people to move outside their comfort zone? Again, in the chat box one last time, what motivates people to move outside their comfort zone? I think you're in the business of moving people outside their comfort zone. I'll tell you why in a minute. But curiosity, trust, encouragement, emotion, desperation. I love that because you know what? Most people think of motivation as a positive thing. It's not necessarily a positive thing. Rewards, I haven't seen the word I expected, and that is incentive, right? It could be that proverbial carrot, whatever that is, dangling in front of them, money, food, whatever. I think you're in that business. But I think it's important to understand that we're going to be moving our mentees outside of their comfort zone. For those of you who have never mentored anyone formally, this is going to feel uncomfortable to you too. So there are three questions, and I want you to take a look at how they're couched, so to speak. They are not, and the reason I say ask these of your mentee, they don't say, why is change so threatening to you? And so, although the mentee answers or responds personally, they don't take it personally. How can we help break guerrilla thinking? How do we break through your guerrilla thinking would be instead. So they're all third person, and it really helps people to open up. I'm going to give you some other tools to use in your relationship as well as we go. All right. So if you stare at that picture for long enough, it will drive you absolutely crazy. Um, And once you see it one way, it's hard to see it the other way. But effective mentoring really starts with one simple thing, and that is perspective. It's perspective. I think that mentoring relationships, what I found is that it's all about seeing the world from their perspective, not yours. And again, sales trainer just a few years back said, if you see the world through your customer's eyes, you'll see the way your customer buys. And I love that. See the world through your customer's eyes and you'll see the way your customer buys. Yes, it applies to our business, but it especially applies to being a mentor and in a mentor or mentee relationship. We need to see the world from their eyes. And I have proven over and over again, I won't take time today, but there's always, always, always more than one right answer to every single challenge. And if you'll accept that in business, in this mentoring relationship we're talking about, you always, you find yourself saying, I've seen this 1,000 times before. I know exactly what to do, especially in a mentoring relationship, right? We've been in the business for X amount of years. Oh, I know exactly what to do. Instead, we need to say to ourselves, okay, that's the first right answer. Let me think about what the second right answer is. How else could we look at this? One of the things that you'll find, I believe strongly, is that in a mentoring relationship, it's not hierarchical. It's not because you know more than they do. And I hope to prove that to you this afternoon. It's because you've had more experience than they have, possibly. You have lots of experience to share, but don't think of it as a hierarchical relationship, no matter the age of your mentee, no matter their experience, because it is a two-way street. And I hope to prove that to you as well. So it's about perspective. And the second piece is you need to give yourself an ask, an alternative solution kit. It simply means that when you think you've got the right answer, are you willing to say there's always more than one right answer? Historically, every invention, every creative idea, every innovative company started because somebody dared to look for the second right answer. I've been doing this for years. I've been preaching this for years. Some of you have heard that before from me. The way I kind of prove the second right answer is I collect signs. So my wife and I were out for, I think I got this. Oh, I will, I don't even, I just put the slides together 10 minutes ago. So I'm creative, not organized. That's my excuse. I forgot. I wanted to share with you the Harvey principle first, and then I will get back to the signs. Um, in my book, Coloring Outside the Lines, when I first came out, I developed this thing that I call the Harvey principle. Don't know if any of you have ever seen the movie Harvey, Jimmy Stewart, 1950s, black and white. I loved that movie as a kid for some reason. Took it at face value. It was very entertaining. But about 10 years ago, I rented it to watch with my daughters. And for some reason, I watched it from a whole different perspective. And at the beginning of the movie, even if you haven't seen it, they want to commit Jimmy Stewart's character to a mental institution. He's obviously crazy. He's the only one who can see this 6 foot white rabbit that he's named Harvey. And watching from a different perspective, I started to question whether or not he was the crazy one. Maybe, just maybe it was everybody who couldn't see Harvey who was crazy. And I started to think, how does that affect our professional lives? And now, how do we relate it to the mentoring relationship? Well, the bottom line is it's a whole chapter in the book, but the bottom line is learning to see invisible opportunities where everyone else sees only visible limitations. Makes a much more effective mentor. The mentor who is available to look for invisible opportunities in your mentee where other people see only visible limitations. So that again is about being more creative. How about this? A logo, just to prove it to you. A logo you see every day. Put in the chat box. What's hidden in the FedEx logo? Absolutely. There are no prizes. Let me ask you another way. Well, just if you had not seen that before, just put yes in the chat box. You've never seen that before. A lot of you. All right. So you saw the people who said no, because I have to warn you, if you're saying yes right now, we have just officially driven you crazy. No, no, you don't understand. The people who have seen it will agree with me. You will never again look at the FedEx logo the same way. I can prove it to you. Last Friday, I was going through Minneapolis airport and I had a couple hours to kill between flights. And I sat down and I was out looking out at the runway and there was a FedEx plane about to take off. And I'm thinking to myself, don't see it. And as it starts to move, I'm going, don't see it, don't see it, don't see it, don't see it. Ah! You can't help but see it, right? Why? because our left brain, that analytical, detailed part of our brain, is trained to read it and move on, read it and move on. Kind of how I see a lot of mentoring relationships happening. I said it before, and I'll keep beating up some people, but it is about fixing it and moving on. Next problem, moving on. And so instead, now that I've made you aware of what we'll call the opportunity, your brain will, the right side of your brain will kick into it every time. We need to be aware of those invisible opportunities with our mentees. I had the privilege of speaking in India 4 years ago, and I showed this slide, and afterwards a young lady came up to me and said, "Yes, but Mr. Tobe, what about the measuring spoon in the other E? If I have to see it, you have to see it every single time." All right, let's go on. So I have a challenge for you, and it's going to take a pen or pencil and a piece of paper. It could just be a sticky note. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to draw a cup. As quickly as you can. It doesn't need to be an artist rendering. Just draw a coffee cup. Some of you are already drawing a saucer underneath and steam coming off. And give me a few seconds more. All right. I want you to share it. Would you put it up to your camera for those of you who are on camera, just so we can see it? It's going to be hard to do. You might have to pull back a little. Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Uh, Excellent. I'm looking. Excellent. So what happened? Most of you drew something that looks like this, right? Now that is an artist rendering. So, but something that looked like that. Well, here's the thing. I've been doing this now just under a year with my audiences, and it's some of the things I've gotten are amazing. How about this? A guy sent me this one. What is it? Somehow he was looking down at his coffee cup and drew it. Still a coffee cup, but one of my favorites was this one. Like I asked to draw a coffee cup and he must have like put it up here, looked at it and was drawing from the bottom up. So still a coffee cup. And why didn't you draw a Starbucks looking cup or a teacup? The point is this, once you've got the right answer in your mind, set it aside and say there's got to be a second right answer. There's got to be a creative opportunity here. That's what's going to make an effective mentor, is when you can sit and listen to a problem and not just jump to solutions. There's so much research about fixing things, and so we go into that part of our brain to fix things for our mentee. And that isn't really our job, as you'll find out as a mentor. I think it's more as a guide, as a Sherpa, for them to come up with the answers. Um, Terry said I put an arrow on it for fun. I love that. And yes, I was waiting for that, Jeff. Should we put a logo on it? Absolutely. And they're probably not made in China. Anyway, let's go on. So here are the signs for my second right answer. My wife and I were out for dinner the other night and saw this one. Come on. Either they're great marketers or they're idiots. I don't know which one. It was in front of a sandwich shop. And my favorite one is, why not use our weaknesses to our advantage? I like it. Second right answer. I have lots of examples if one day you want to sit down and have a beer and I'll share them with you. All right. So here's when we talk about mentoring itself, it is an awesome responsibility. And congratulations to those of you who are already in a mentoring mentee relationship. And I mean awesome in the true sense of the word. I often do surveys when I work with companies in mentoring. I do surveys after a training. And two of the responses I've received, I want to share with you. One was from a mentor who said, I am the gatekeeper of the rest of this person's career. Now, I know that sounds cocky and kind of bold, but it's so true. That's an awesome responsibility. And you've got to consider that when you go into a mentee relationship, that you truly are guiding this person's career. Now, what Promo Kitchen is doing is unique. I'm going to talk about that. You're kind of mentoring someone from another company who might even be a competitor. but you're still talking about their career one way or the other. And then from a mentee, I received this. Somebody in this profession cares about me. Phew, mic drop for me. Yeah, that's why, I want to be a mentor. It proves that somebody in the profession cares about me. So let's talk about the first step, which is really building that mentoring foundation. In the chat box again, what do I mean about mentoring foundation? What comes to mind? Listening, absolutely. That goes in as a piece of it. Master the basics first, absolutely. Sharing experiences, thanks, Pita. Building blocks for conversations, all of that goes into the foundation, but I guess let's look at it differently. How can you build a house without a foundation? Bottom line, right? It's that we have to have that foundation before we go into a mentoring relationship. So let me talk a little bit about about your building your mentoring foundation. First of all, I know you're familiar with this. We have to know that everyone, no matter where they're located, Canada or the U.S., are listening to only one radio station, WIIFM, which is what's in it for me. Your mentees listening to the same station. That's the perspective we have to take, their perspective, not ours. So, what are the benefits? What I'm going to do, I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. You didn't even know you were going to have those today. And I'd like you to just come up with two for each of these. So the way it's going to work, excuse me, you're going to have about 8 to 10 people in your group. Would you please quickly introduce yourself? You could take up the whole time talking to each other but just who you are, name of company, how long you've been in the business, maybe why you're here, right? And then as a group, would you come up with two benefits for the mentor and two for the mentee? Any questions on that? All right, give me a second. And if you don't know how this works, you're going to get something on your screen that says go to breakout. We'll take about 7 or 8 minutes, 10 minutes. Still have some people hanging around. Anybody having trouble? Just unmute yourself if you're having trouble. Tell us.
I accidentally left the room. I need to be put back in.
No, Jamie, I think they threw you out, actually. Hold
Well,
on.
I need back in regardless.
Hold on. I'm having a weird thing happening, and that is that my cursor doesn't show up when I'm over, and it won't let me put you. I have to put you in a different room, but it won't let me put you back in the same room.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right. We
See
still
you,
have
Jamie.
quite a few people. Todd, having trouble,
Yeah, I
Christopher?
went into the room. There were two people that weren't there.
Okay. Let's see what room you were
They
in.
had their cameras off. I think room 7.
All right.
No
Jeff, can you
camera
hear
and it
me?
was muted.
Moving you to another room. Anybody else? Christopher, Duffy?
Yeah. I seem to be in here with only Ashley and Todd.
You're already in? I don't know why you're still here.
I joined room 2.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
room 2 now.
it says you haven't joined. Oh, you're with Ashley and Todd. You're still in our room. Okay, I'm going to put you in another room. Just accept the invite.
Okay, heading to 4.
And Todd?
I haven't seen anything come up.
Well, You're going to be stuck with us, I think, Todd.
Okay.
I don't know why.
That's pressure.
Yeah, really. Where are you from, Todd? I'm looking, by the way, too.
I'm in Chicago. I work with
Oh, okay.
Alicia out of Baltimore,
Oh,
Haymaker
okay.
Productions.
Hold on. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try and move you. Let me know if it comes up.
I did. Thank you.
Okay. And Ashley, are you with us? Hi, Julie. You guys are done?
Yep.
Yes, we are.
Good. Give it a couple minutes more. Katie, where are you located?
I'm in Central Oregon.
Are you?
Yes.
My daughter lives in Bend.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Are
Hi.
you?
Yeah.
They've been there only about 6 months and just love it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here for about 10 years and I could
Oh,
never go back. I'm from the East Coast originally. So,
right, right.
yeah,
Well, there.
it's been a little rainy though, and cold, but
Yeah, I heard
can't
they
complain.
went hiking this weekend, sent pictures with snow. So
Yep.
up
Yep.
in the
We got a lot of
mountains. Yeah.
snow in the mountains. Yeah.
Crazy.
I
Yeah.
know. Winter's coming.
Yeah. And Pete, how about you? Where are you looking?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and
Oh,
I've done a lot of work with Bruce Belver, and
yeah,
so he's kind of mentored me along the way
yeah.
as well. And
Excellent.
yeah, we've he asked me to take a look here. So I'm a marketing agency, if you will, and I've
Great.
been doing marketing about 30 years, and so promos becomes part of a lot of what we do. And
Absolutely.
so we sell. I don't have specific lines necessarily, but a lot of that comes in a lot of our programs. So a buyer, designer, coordinator, manager of promos in different programs.
Got it. And I'm right down the street from you, so
Oh yeah, where you at?
in Pittsburgh.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we have a football team. So
Yeah, don't even bring it up. I don't
well,
even
we
want
used to anyways.
to. Jeez, I'm jealous, if anything, jealous.
Well,
Yeah.
welcome. I'm glad you're here.
All right, thank you.
Mandy, how about you? Where are you located? That was for you, Mandy.
It's like she took her headphones off.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's out of Baltimore as well. She
Oh,
works
okay. Got it.
Maker Promotions with
Got
the
it.
shop. They're neighbors, I believe.
Oh, okay.
That's how she joined the company with that.
It's the most bizarre thing, but I have my cursor is gone. All right, there we go. Welcome back. Excellent. So welcome back, and I hope you got to meet each other. You're going to be in one more breakout together, so get to know each other a little better. That's what part of this is all about. So, what are the benefits? We're talking about the why. We need to know the why if we're going to build a mentoring foundation. Some of them are pretty obvious. So what I'm going to do is I should have asked you, and I forgot to tell you to appoint a spokesperson, but and to recognize what group you were in. But I think we can do this. So I'm not going to go to every group, so I'm going to do this sporadically. Um, group Group 4 was the one with Jeff and Lindsay were in it. Would one of you take yourself off mute and tell us one benefit to the mentor?
Lindsay's gonna share. She took notes.
All right.
I did. One benefit too with the mentor is opening your mind to new perspectives.
Absolutely. Yeah. And being open to new perspectives. I love that. All right, let's do this in rapid fire. How about group 6, which is John, Julie, maybe Susie?
That actually might be me. I might be group
Jen.
6. I'm going to be really
Jen.
honest with you. I don't
Okay.
actually know what group I was in.
That's okay.
Well, Jen, we were in 6. We were in 6.
We were in 6. All right,
Okay.
Susie, you want to take it away?
No, you could go ahead. You took notes. I saw you.
Of course, of
I
course.
blame you.
Just
All
one
right.
to the mentor.
One for the mentor. We talked about spreading and sharing our passion, which drives our inner fulfillment.
I love that because that's the advantage of what Promo Kitchen is doing. I think, I started to tell you that it's very unusual for companies to mentor other companies. And I kind of feel that's what it is. It's still a person, obviously, but it's sharing the passion for the industry, sharing the passion for what you do. Thank you for that. One more, we'll go to group 8, which is Katie Baker, Pete, Todd.
Yep. We also talked about, say, similar to group 4, just a new perspective that you're getting. So maybe someone who's been in the industry a bit longer versus not, learn about more what's cutting edge, and you learn just as much as you teach.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. I'm going to open it up and see what happens. We may talk over each other, but any of the other groups have something different. Just unmute yourself.
And Jeff,
Yeah, please.
we talked in our group about the mentor-mentee relationship, that being a mentor, you should learn as much from your mentee as you're imparting. Because what you said at the very beginning, if you look at it through somebody else's eyes or from another perspective, you get a whole different atmosphere. I think
Yeah,
Jamie said it best. It's, part of the pillars of happiness is to help each other grow.
absolutely.
And Jeff, at the risk of screwing up your presentation, I want to
Oh,
also
no.
submit that the mentor-mentee relationship can also be used in the client relationship. Everything that we're learning here is a perfect way to talk to your clients and mentor your clients
Absolutely.
and consult with your clients.
Won't screw up my presentation at all. I'm a big believer of that. And it has a lot to do, and this will tie it back to the customer experience that I talk about. If we're almost mentors to our clients, that solidifies a different kind of relationship than just being a salesperson. So thank you for saying that, Bruce. Let's move on to the mentee. Group one was Dominic, Missy. What's a benefit to the mentee?
I took notes and we said a benefit was just learning the industry knowledge. I mean, and different connections that our mentor may have.
Yeah. Yeah, the mentor should shorten the runway to either getting into the business or understanding the business better. Excellent. How about group five? That'd be Jay and Lori Moore.
I think I was the one that took notes on that one. So
Okay.
one of the things that we thought would be great for the mentee as a benefit is the ability to build relationships with new faces and have familiarity. That's a tongue twister. And
Yeah.
and a new in all of the ways that you're able to network and connect in this industry, having a nice face that you know.
Excellent. I also call it, and I'm going to age myself, is access to the mentor's Rolodex. So as a resource as well, I think that's a huge advantage to the mentee as well. Thank you all. I appreciate your engagement and your participation. Let's move on. So you can see some definitions. I'm not going to go through them except what is mentoring. It's just that transfer of tacit knowledge and skills from one person to another in which both individuals benefit from the interaction. And we said that in a number of ways already. But great mentors help really smart people become wise. So I said before, it's not a hierarchical relationship, but it's helping other people become wise about the industry itself. So why be a mentor? Studies have shown that having a mentor is a top factor affecting a person's success, career satisfaction, and whether or not they'll stay in a profession. Well, internal mentoring, I have mentioned a couple of times, is well documented. I know a lot about it, but peer company mentoring, where one company mentors another in the same industry, is really unique. And so congratulations to Promo Kitchen. I think that I'm going to use you as a case study and learn more about what you do. It just suggests an opportunity for you to be a pioneer. It positions you as an innovator rather simply as a vendor. And I love this. This saying was Bob Proctor, who is a Canadian philosopher. A mentor is someone who sees more talent and ability within their mentee than they see in themselves, and helps bring it out of them. That's the job of the mentee. So coaching versus mentoring. I wanted to bring this up because there are a lot of different terms out there, and I think there is a difference. I truly believe, in my experience, that a mentor also has to be a great coach. But I don't believe that a coach necessarily has to be a mentor. Coaching is more transactional, whereas I think mentoring is more transformational. And I can show you, I think, just some differences here. And again, I won't go through them all. But the focus for coaching is on specific goals, performance, or skills, whereas mentoring is career growth. If you look at relationship, I think a coach is more professional and structured, Mentoring can be informal. We'll talk about that, but it's more nurturing for sure. And the outcome for a coach is improved performance or goal achievement. Still got to be a coach as a mentor, as I said. But I think mentoring is more about broader growth, confidence in the industry, understanding. So I think there is a difference. I do believe, like I say, and there are some great courses out there. If you don't feel comfortable as a coach, there are some great courses on, I know, Udemy or Prior Learning, just short video courses on being a better coach. Part of all this is about giving feedback. And I want to kind of take a second to talk about how do we offer effective feedback. And again, I love what Bruce said because it's the same thing with our clients. First of all, we have, like I said, is make sure trust is the foundation. Obviously it goes into this foundation before anything else. Somebody said listening. I think that's after we establish trust. It requires more than just simply saying, trust me. In reality, it's just an ongoing process of being trustworthy. And so I think it's always should be our effort in this relationship. The second is use the SBI model for feedback. Not sure if anybody's familiar with it, and I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but SBI is very simple. It's situation, behavior, and impact. It was created by the Center for Creative Leadership years ago. Somehow it's stuck in my mind as being so effective in giving feedback. You simply describe the situation. You got to be specific. Then you describe the behavior that you saw or that you see, and then you describe the impact. So basically, it's something like, the last time we met, I noticed that you tend to talk over me a lot as your mentor. That's the situation and the behavior together. And what happens then when you do that is, and that's the impact. So it's a very simple way to give feedback. By the way, I'm giving you a full day's workshop in an hour and a half. So that if you think I'm hurrying through, I am some of this. The second is observe, don't interpret. Being non-judgmental in a mentoring relationship is key. It's very difficult to do. It's still a human-to-human relationship, so it's hard. We need to be specific when we're giving feedback. And I think this is my favorite. Don't make it personal, but make it personalized. I jumped ahead somehow. Anyway, so two came up. What do I mean by that? It has to be personalized, otherwise it doesn't make any sense. But when it becomes personal, it feels like an attack. So when we're giving feedback, it's got to be personalized. My dad used to have a saying that I probably think about at least once a week, and that is, don't take it personally, take it seriously. Don't take it personally, take it seriously. I love that. I have to remind myself of that all the time when I feel like somebody hurt my feelings or that it was a personal attack. Don't take it personal, take it seriously. The next is provide feedback consistently. Always link back to their goals and clarify. Make sure that your meaning is what they're hearing. This goes back to listening skills, but it's a key to communication, and especially one-to-one communication. Make sure what you want them to understand is what they're understanding. And it's much more difficult in a digital world. This is tough, you write an email and somebody takes it completely differently than what you thought. I will tell you, in all honesty, I think I'm the only person in Monroeville, Pennsylvania, to ever have been fired from a volunteer position. I sent an email to my board of my board of directors of the organization. I knew exactly what I meant. It's just not how they took it. So, yeah, they kindly let me go. All right. So the next step is, how do we get to success? How do we get ready for success as a mentor? Again, I won't go through all of this, but I like to say there are three phases to the mentoring process. The first is the initiation phase. That's where you're just, getting to know each other, getting acquainted. You're agreeing on structure and format. Then we get into the cultivation phase. That's where we get some traction. We are more open. We start focusing on the mentee's skills, their strengths, where they need development. But I also want to make you aware that there's a separation phase as well. Mentoring is not until death do us part. And I can prove it to you, and I'm excited to share that in this business, in your business, when I first started my own, when I first started as a distributor, I had a mentor who was a supplier, and he has since passed away. But he said to me something that has stuck with me forever, and that is, my job is to make you better than me in this business. I love that. That's my job. And when you become better than me, we part ways, and I encourage you to find another mentor. So that should be your thinking as you go into this relationship, or if you're in the mentoring relationship now. But it is about the ability just to value differences. It's so much more important than seeking to minimize or relate or eliminate them. The reason I say that, I find so many mentors who are looking for somebody that's just like them. Yeah, you're just like me when I was in when I was in your position. That's dangerous. So people connect on similarities, but they grow on differences. So I challenge you to find somebody who's very different than you. Right up front, we have to set time bounds early in the relationship. Discuss what I call that no fault termination early. I'm not an attorney, but I think I did pretty well there. Either party can opt out of the relationship at any time without attributing fault to the other party. And as I said, mentoring isn't until death do us part. I apologize. I was sharing with somebody that for some reason, I keep losing my cursor. There we go. I think it's back. Okay. So when I talk to people about mentoring who are already in a mentor relationship, I ask them, what kind of relationship is it? And I'm telling you, 9 times out of 10, they say, well, it's very informal. What does that mean? I want you to start thinking, if you're already in that relationship, or if you're thinking about going into the relationship, think of it as a spectrum. On one end, we've got formal mentoring. On the other end, we've got informal mentoring. Now, formal mentoring means it's structured, it's purposely has goals. Our meeting cadence is defined. We're going to meet the second Tuesday of every month, where we evaluate our progress, where confidentiality, communication, and trust are expected of both parties. And then on the other end of that spectrum, so to speak, is informal, less structured, tend to meet just when needed, when an issue arises, less likely to involve agendas. But again, confidentiality, communication, and trust are expected. So what does it look like? Very simply like that. So no one is in an informal relationship. You're somewhere on that spectrum. Maybe you're closer to being an informal relationship, but I think what happens is this. I think that we kind of move along that spectrum depending on where we are in the relationship. I'm going to venture to guess that if you're very early in the relationship, you are probably more towards that end of the spectrum, because we have to establish goals. We have to establish trust. We have to talk about what you want to get out of this relationship. And then as you become more comfortable with each other, you actually start to move back. So I think it's constantly moving along that spectrum. And when we think of it that way, we're not thinking that it has to be one or the other. It could be somewhere in the middle where, all right, we don't have a meeting cadence. I'm available to you when you need me, but we still need to talk about your goals and what we're trying to achieve and measurement as we go along. So somewhere along there. And I wanted to share the 3 A's of a good mentor. It's simply available, active listener, and analyst. What does that mean? It means you're availing them of your time. And you need to be available. If I'm your mentee and I can never find time to meet with you, or you can never find time to meet with me, then you're not available. And available also means attentive. It means non-distractive. So you're not taking calls or you're not doing other things where you're mentoring me. You are focused on me for the time I have with you. Active listening goes without saying. It's not just listener, it's active listening. It's about truly listening between the lines, as I like to say. Not just to respond, but to truly understand what the other person means, not just what they're saying. And then analyst just makes sense. I was going to put therapist, but it's not really. It's more about analyzing the situation and thinking about how can I guide this person to a solution. And we've said it a couple of times, be open to reverse mentoring. You truly, if you're open to it, you're going to learn just as much from them as they are from you. And ask those kinds of questions. Say, hey, you were talking about using AI to make a video for your customer. Can you tell me more about how you do that? And because they're bringing something to the table that you may not have that skill. So just be aware of the fact that they may know something that you don't, and you may want to know more about it. So what qualifications do you need to be a mentor? I got this from the International Mentoring Association, so bear with me because I do want to read it. To be a mentor, it's important to have the relevant experience and communication skills needed to effectively coach someone. Sometimes you need to be a career coach. Other times, you just have to be a listener or even an advisor on how to avoid mistakes. To know which approach is best, you have to be able to discuss the situation with the mentee and choose the best path forward to develop that person's skills and careers. It doesn't say anywhere that you make decisions for them. And this is a rut that a lot of mentors fall into, whereas they feel like, again, they need to fix it. They need to offer solutions. You don't. You need to guide them. Or at least, if you don't know the answer to a question they have, find out together. Say, let's find this before we meet next time. I don't know this. So let's find out the answer together. And just take a minute or two next meeting to find out what we learned. Well, didn't even know I could zoom in. So what makes a great mentor? A lot of you have had mentors in your life. Most of you should at some point. It might be through your church. It might be another parent at your kid's soccer game. I'm going to put you in the breakouts again. And all I'd like you to do is in 5 minutes, that's all we're going to take, is I would like you to, actually 5 to 7 minutes as I look at my watch. I would like you to just make a list. Somebody needs to be the scribe of attributes of a great mentor. It could be just adjectives, however you want to do it. Just make a list of attributes of an outstanding mentor. Any questions there? All right. Hopefully this works this time for those of you who were left with me last time. And again, 5 to 7 minutes. Chris, you're frozen on my end, so I'm wondering if you're having some technical difficulties, if you can even hear us. Salman, is it? Stephanie Taylor, mute yourself. Dominique. Hi, Missy. You have
Hi.
technical difficulties?
I think, are the other ones in the other room?
I don't know. I'm going to put you into a random room if that's okay.
Okay, that would be
Okay.
great.
See ya.
Thanks.
Stephanie Taylor, are you with us? Dominique? Welcome back.
We're back.
You really had no choice. So. All right. We're going to do a lightning round. So here's how it's going to go. I'm just going to go one group to the other. I just want one attribute. And, so you need to stroke them out as we go along. I'm going to go from group 10 down to 1. By the time we get to 1, you may not have any, and that's okay. But let's see what happens. So group 10 is Brian, Ronnie, Jay. Where are they? They're not back, and I closed the room. Oh, okay. Now everybody's back. Let me start again. We're going to do a speed round of answer. We're running out of time. So I'm going to start with group 10, go down to 1. Just give me one attribute that you think is most important, and make sure you check off the ones that you already hear. So group 10, it's Brian, Ronnie, Jay.
This is Ronnie. I'll jump in. I love Salman's answer, and that was he feels like he has a halo, so somebody that he can count on. As he's
that.
never been a mentor, but he's been a mentee, and that's been the most important part, most important attribute for him on our list.
Excellent. Thanks, Ronnie. How about group 9, Chris, Philip?
So I think ours would be that they challenge you.
Yeah.
Being able to like open up a different perspective of something that you might not been able to see the entire view of, and then being able to be like, hey, what about this? Or what about this view?
Absolutely. Perfect. Group 8.
Yeah, that challenge was one, but Sean had brought up ask, proper or direct questions that might make you feel uncomfortable, but bring you out of like your comfort zone.
Yeah, ask questions. Absolutely. Group 5.
That would be us. We had a bunch of things on our list. At the top was having a mentor who's attentive to your needs. And we also spoke a lot about how it's important to have somebody who you can vibe with, who you have a connection with. There's little compatibility there. And then we talked a little bit about integrity.
Just ask for one. You're taking everybody else's. Nice try, but thank you. Let's move on. Group 5. Larry, Alicia.
Oh, would that be us?
You missed 6. You missed 6.
Oh, I missed 6. I'm sorry. Group 6.
All right. Ours was our top was being an active listener.
Okay. What'd you say, sir? Just trying to, just being a smart aleck. Yes, being an active
Almost
listener.
counted.
Thank you. So do I go back to group to, I don't know, Larry and Alicia. I don't know what number you were now. So. Anybody from that group?
I think we're 4. Yeah.
4, sorry.
Someone who's intellectually honest and guides you to the solution versus giving you the solution.
Oh, thank you. I love that. Yes. Our job is to be a guide, not to give solutions. All right, group 3. Jeff, Lindsay.
We said a lot of them have been taken already, but great mentors also then create great mentors. So inspiring the next group of mentorship.
Yes, absolutely. Group 2, any others? Bruce, Jamie?
So our group said empathy was a really important one to have. And you don't always have to necessarily agree with what your mentee is saying, but have empathy for what they're going through.
Excellent. And finally, group 1. Missy, I think, were you in that group? Oh no, I put her in another group. I don't think we had anybody in group 1, actually. It's a long story.
I think we moved. I moved to another group.
Yes, I know. Yeah, I got it now. Yes, thank you. So yes, you hit on them. But and let me share with you the top 5. And this is strictly from Jeff Tobe's perspective. The first is communicate and listen. A great mentor is somebody who communicates and listens. You touched on that over and over again. Communication is key. I'm sure you've seen it before, right? It's all about communication. And here's one more. May take a minute to get this one. I liked it, and if you didn't get it, I'll explain it later. So, all right. The second is someone who offers constructive criticism. The third is empathy. So thank you for saying that. And I'm only going by the answers that I've received over the last 3 years or so. Letting your mentee make decisions. Work on becoming a professional role model. This is a key, by the way. I want to stop for a second because I can only imagine that you're going to the the annual show and you're walking up and down the aisles with your mentee maybe, and um, and you're upset about an order that's the vendor messed up, and this mentee is watching you as verbally assault somebody about that order for a big client. We are the minute you step into the role of becoming a mentor, you are a professional role model from that point on. And you have to keep that in mind that they are going to model what you do as well. So, in starting to wrap up anyway, I want to share with you some resources. And these are resources I'm going to make you work to get. I'll show you how you can get them in a minute. But I do have some resources for you. First, there's a mentoring conversation starters worksheet. And it just consists of these 6 kind of items or these 6 areas. Getting to know each other, kinds of questions we can ask. Goal setting. How do we even approach goal setting, and what should we be looking for when we're talking about career aspirations? How do we navigate challenges in our relationship with our mentee? Organizational insights and culture, professional development, and then how do we check in with our mentee and celebrate along the way? So that's one resource. The next one is a monthly mentoring reflection template. Questions like, and there's a lot of them, but here I put the first 3. What were the main topics or goals that we discussed this month, this week, today? What progress have we made towards your goals? What new insights or skills did you gain? And I think there's about 7 or 8 more questions to ask. It also consists of a mentor troubleshooting guide. For example, there's 2 examples. Conversations feel flat or awkward. What do we do? Meetings keep getting postponed. What do we do? So these are just kind of a tip guide, I guess, if you will. Next one is a corporate mentoring goal setting worksheet. Questions like, what are your top 2 to 3 goals for this mentoring experience? What are your professional development focus areas? Questions you can ask your mentee about setting those goals. Next are mentoring session ideas. I think there's about 20 of them. Just a few. I don't know how many of you have ever taken a disc profile together. There are free ones online. What better way to get to know each other, even if you've been working together for a while? Just take a disc profile and then bring your results to our next meeting. Let's talk about our different styles. Do a career mapping session. Google or ChatGPT career mapping. Very simply, it's, where are you now? Where were you? Where are you now? Where are you going? Hope to go. It's important, I think, in the relationship to understand where our mentee wants to go. Ask each other personal versus professional questions. So maybe you'll make a list of 10 each, and next time we get together, we're just going to rapidly go back and forth. What's your favorite TV show ever? What's your favorite food? Not things you would normally discuss probably in your mentoring relationship. Again, there's about 10 questions that you can ask. So there they are. You've got these things, and the only thing you have to do, because I did not include them, as I'm going to include another resource in a minute. My email address is just jeff@jefftobe.com. Just in the subject line, all you need to put is resources. If you want to comment, you could do that too. But just ask for that resources. I'll be glad to get it out to you. I want to mention another resource that I just finished, and I'm promoting somebody else's book, but I hope you can see this because I can't see myself. The book is called Pathfinders, Navigating Your Career Map with a Personal Board of Advisors. I highly recommend this book. It's by Pete Schramm, It's just out, I believe. I just finished it this week because I knew I was going to be with you, and I didn't know if I'd recommend it or not, but I highly recommend this book. It's a wonderful book. Takes a little bit of time to get through, but there are so many helpful resources and discussions in this book. I think it would be wonderful for all of you.
Jeff, who was the author? Could you repeat the author?
Yes, I'm sorry. Pete, last name is Schramm, Schramm. And then finally, I can only get better with your feedback. And so I'm going to give you a QR code in a minute to use your phone. So get your phone ready. If you will kindly go to that link and give me some of your feedback, I'd really appreciate it. And in return, I'd love to give you a infographic on mentorship and some of the things that I have just spoken about. There you go. There's two ways to do it. You can scan it with your phone, or you can go to that URL and you'll receive that infographic as well. Also, I know Christopher has been, and I don't know if it's Chris or Christopher, I didn't ask, I'm sorry, but has been posting on how you can get more engaged in mentoring and links to Promo Kitchen. I highly recommend that you take that first step if you haven't. They can explain, the folks at Promo Kitchen, Jay, Christopher, they can explain what's involved time-wise and everything else. So please take that step. And I just want to thank you personally. Thank you for investment of your time. I really appreciate Promo Kitchen, obviously, especially to the Facilisgroup as well, and especially to Jay personally, without whom none of this would have been possible. So thank you so much. Jay, I'm going to hand it back to you.
Wow, that was amazing. I was excited, but I got to tell you, I'm even more jacked up now. And how is that even possible? I might be on a 12. Usually I get up to 11, but I think I'm on a 12. I got to say, Jeff, this was awesome. Seriously, thank you. And thank you to everyone's participation. It was so fun to see the chat hot and everybody sharing, and the breakout rooms were delicious just for me, just got to say. So quick, huge thanks to Facilisgroup. They were a generous education sponsor, and they were instrumental in us keeping the burners on to help this session come to life. So want to give them a little extra love. Also gratitude to our Promo Kitchen board, the education committee, the mentorship committee, and every volunteer chef and sous chef who's made this community so rich, such a flavorful mix of passion, the creativity, legacy-minded folks who want to give. We love you. And of course, thank you again, those of you who showed up here live. This was a big commitment in time. We know time is precious, but you helped keep our kitchen lively today. So that was so much fun. And together, I truly do believe we're bringing mentorship in a way that is rarely done. And Jeff couldn't believe it. He about fell out of his chair when I told him what we were doing. But we think this is a recipe for success for our industry. So this truly is the secret sauce to keep promo, branded merch, print, apparel, whatever camp you're in, to keep us relevant. So as Christopher gave us a couple of opportunities in the chat, signing up is super easy. So if you're ready to start your PK journey for mentorship, we use the platform together, and we would love to make sure that you could be a mentor or a mentee. And just click that link, share in the chat, or visit us at promokitchen.org. Remember, it's not .com. And then, you're going to be taken to the website. You can create an account. You can start cooking up your own mentorship experiences. And we're so grateful for everybody today. This has been a lot of fun. And thank you, Alicia. We do have a special announcement in that we have tickets available for the Mixer at Expo, the PPAI Expo, every January. So that Monday night is going to be a big deal at the House of Blues, as it has been for several years. And it's my privilege to say that we are entering our 15th year. And Jeff used one of my favorite words in his presentation, which was pioneers. I have to give a shout out to the OGs, which are the original gangsters in this case, who were the pioneers and the misfits and the rebels who thought this was a good idea. And here we are 15 years later, making it better. And to the degree that we know how, I think we're doing that. So A quick another thank you to Facilis, to everybody that was a bit involved from our board, from all of our past sponsors, all of our past mentors and mentees who showed up today. We love you so much. This has been great. So I can't wait to see you in Las Vegas. Get your tickets. And that's it. Have a wonderful week, everybody.